Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight's horror tale unravels a chilling story set in a remote northern village, a tale filled with ancient rituals, long-buried secrets, and a darkness that never really went away. Dim the lights, get comfortable, and brace yourself for the Lantern of Cold Hollow. Cold Hollow was a village so far north it barely appeared on maps, wedged between dense pine forests and frostbitten hills. It was a forgotten place where time seemed to stand still. There were no traffic lights, no cell towers. Just wooden cottages, a frozen lake, and a silence that blanketed everything like snow. Sophie Matson was 32 when she arrived. A photojournalist from the city, she had taken a 6-month sabbatical after witnessing a particularly gruesome fire accident on assignment. She needed time. Space. A grant from a Scandinavian Heritage Research Fund gave her the perfect excuse: document the old customs of vanishing European villages. Cold Hollow had barely 100 residents. They lived simple lives, self-sufficient and private. Sophie rented a tiny cabin at the edge of the village, right beside the tree line. The townsfolk were polite but wary. She wasn't one of them. She asked about festivals, rituals, traditions. Most shrugged and said there wasn't much to tell. Except for an old man named Halvar. He approached Sophie one morning outside the bakery. Thin as a stick, with white eyes like snowblind wolves. He spoke with a rasp, like something had torn his throat long ago. "You looking for stories? I'll give you one." He told her of the lantern. Once every 30 years, the villagers gathered for a secret ceremony. No photos. No outsiders. It always took place on the night of the longest frost, the coldest night of the year. They called it the lighting. "We keep something asleep, girl," Halvar said. "Something that hungers. The lantern keeps it away." Sophie thought it was folklore. Old men love to talk. But she recorded everything. Weeks passed. She photographed landscapes. Interviewed sheep herders and shop owners. No one mentioned the lantern again. Some changed the subject. Others stared in silence until she moved on. But the signs were there. Sophie noticed old carvings on doors, circles with 6 lines, like rays of a sun, but the middle was always hollow. Cold Hollow. Then came December 21st. The sun barely rose that day. A gray twilight hovered for hours before fading. Snow fell so thick it blanketed sound. At sunset, Sophie saw it, villagers walking silently toward the forest. Carrying unlit lanterns. All of them. No one knocked on her door. No one invited her. So she followed. They walked for nearly an hour into the woods. Then, they stopped, forming a wide circle in a snow-covered clearing. In the center stood a single post, and on it hung an old brass lantern. Blackened. Cold. One by one, villagers lit their lanterns, but didn't place them down. They chanted. Words in a language Sophie didn't recognize. Harsh. Guttural. The air seemed to vibrate. Then, Halvar stepped into the center. He lit the central lantern. It flared to life with an unnatural greenish light. The wind stopped. The trees moaned. Sophie felt pressure in her skull, as if something ancient had stirred. That night, she developed a fever. She dreamt of fire in the sky, of blackened roots crawling from beneath the snow. Of eyes, hundreds, watching from within tree trunks. And of the lantern, swinging slowly, as whispers surrounded her in circles. Over the next days, Sophie became obsessed. She went back to the clearing. The lantern was gone. Only the wooden post remained. She asked the villagers. They denied everything. No such tradition. You must have dreamt it. Even Halvar wouldn't speak. He simply stared at her and said, "You shouldn't have seen it." Her camera roll from that night was corrupted. Every image a smear of static. Her audio recorder only captured the wind. Then, the noises began. Scratching. From inside her walls. She assumed it was mice. Until one night, the scratching became tapping. Then knocking. From behind the mirror. She covered it. But every morning, the cover was gone. And the mirror showed not her reflection, but the clearing. The lantern, swinging. Snow falling upward. She tried to leave Cold Hollow. Her car wouldn't start. Roads were snowed in. No phone signal. She went to the mayor's house, found it empty. The bakery, abandoned. No footprints in the snow but hers. The village was deserted. She ran to Halvor's cabin. It was lit. She burst in, found him sitting, blind eyes fixed forward. You woke it. He handed her something wrapped in fur. A lantern. Brass. Cold. It's yours now. Then he collapsed, stone dead. Sophie tried to throw it away. Left it by the lake. It returned. On her cabin table. Flickering. Then, it lit on its own. And the forest screamed. That night, she heard footsteps circling her home. Then she saw them. Eyes. In the snow. Low to the ground. Watching. She didn't sleep. Just sat, staring at the flame. By dawn, the cabin walls were covered in symbols. Carved from the inside. That circle again. Empty center. Her hands were raw, bleeding. She didn't remember doing it. Eventually, she stopped resisting. She lit the lantern each night. Sat by the window. Watching the forest. By the time a rescue team arrived in spring, they found the village untouched. Quiet. Normal. Except Sophie. She was seated in her cabin, smiling. Lantern in hand. No one could pry it from her fingers. She wouldn't speak. Only whisper. We keep it asleep. We keep it asleep. We keep it asleep. Thanks for staying with me till the end. Cold Hollow reminds us some traditions aren't for cameras and books. Some are cages, keeping nightmares at bay. Like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, what do you think the lantern was really protecting us from? Until next time, keep your windows locked. And your lanterns lit.